The Middle East, a land of ancient civilizations and enduring faiths, has long been the epicenter of tumultuous change. At its heart lies Israel, a nation born from the ashes of tragedy, whose story is one of survival, triumph, and conflict. This is not just the story of borders and battles. It is a tale of human resilience, unyielding ideologies, and the quest for peace in a land scarred by war. In 1948, the State of Israel emerged, a sanctuary for a displaced people. Yet, its birth ignited a firestorm. The surrounding Arab nations, unprepared to accept the partition of Palestine, waged war. Outnumbered and outgunned, Israel defied the odds, solidifying its existence in a region that would never truly accept it. This victory, however, came at a cost: the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. Their forced exile would become the genesis of an enduring conflict, one that transformed the Middle East into a powder keg of competing nationalisms. 19 years later, tensions again boiled over in the fateful Six-Day War of 1967. Israel, facing existential threats, launched preemptive strikes against its neighbors. In a mere 6 days, it seized the West Bank, Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, Sinai Peninsula, and the Golan Heights, vast territories that would reshape its destiny. The world watched in awe, but for the people of Palestine and neighboring Arab nations, this war etched deep scars. Jerusalem, a city sacred to 3 religions, now stood divided, a microcosm of the region's broader tensions. As the years unfolded, the Palestinian struggle for self-determination clashed with Israel's need for security. The West Bank and Gaza became symbols of occupation and resistance, their streets echoing with the cries of the oppressed and the sounds of conflict. Life under occupation is a daily battle. Checkpoints, restrictions, and a sense of helplessness permeate Palestinian communities, while Israelis live under the looming threat of rockets and terrorism. The peace process has faltered, with negotiations repeatedly dissolving into bloodshed. While Israel grappled with its immediate borders, the Syrian civil war erupted in 2011, drawing the entire region into chaos. Amid this conflict, Israel's security calculus shifted. Iranian militias and Hezbollah entrenched themselves in Syria, threatening Israel's northern border. In response, Israel launched precision airstrikes on Iranian arms depots and Hezbollah positioned of a hostile front. The skies over Damascus have become a battleground, each strike a message. Israel will not stand idle, but these actions have ripple effects. Civilians, already suffering under the weight of war, find themselves caught in the crossfire. The question remains: can stability ever return to this fractured land? The Middle East is a chessboard of competing powers. The United States stands as Israel's unwavering ally, while Russia and Iran bolster Syria's embattled regime. These alliances, rooted in decades of history, shape every decision, every airstrike, and every negotiation. The rivalry between Israel and Iran plays out not just in Syria, but across the region. Proxy wars, cyber attacks, and covert operations have become the norm, escalating tensions and threatening to ignite a broader conflict. Amid the darkness, there are glimmers of hope. Grassroots organizations on both sides strive for coexistence, fostering dialogue where politics have failed. Palestinian and Israeli youths meet, not as adversaries, but as individuals yearning for peace. Jerusalem's ancient stones whisper tales of coexistence from a time before borders divided the land. Could those stories inspire a new generation to rebuild what decades of conflict have torn apart? Conflict has displaced millions. Palestinian refugees live in camps, their dreams of returning home fading with each passing generation. In Syria, entire cities lie in ruins, their inhabitants scattered across the globe. The region's humanitarian crisis is staggering. Hunger, illness, and despair pervade these forgotten corners of the world. Yet, amidst this suffering, aid workers and doctors risk their lives to bring relief. Their efforts remind us of the shared humanity that persists despite the barriers of war. The past is written, but the future remains uncertain. Peace agreements, such as the Abraham Accords, offer a glimmer of possibility. Israel's normalization of relations with some Arab states has shifted the regional dynamic, proving that dialogue is not only possible but essential. However, the core issues remain unresolved. The dream of a two-state solution, a homeland for Palestinians alongside a secure Israel, fades with each passing year. Settlement expansions and political divisions erode hope, while alternative solutions struggle to gain traction. Israel's actions, whether in the skies over Syria or the streets of the West Bank, are driven by a complex web of security needs, historical grievances, and geopolitical strategies. But behind every strike and every negotiation are people, families yearning for peace, children dreaming of a future free from fear. The Middle East remains a land of contrasts, where hope and despair coexist. As history continues to unfold, the world watches, wondering, will this be the generation to break the cycle, to turn conflict into coexistence?